Well, I don't think it's supposed to look like that. Hey, we're back in the garage again. We're working on Moose. We found out some of the problems that were causing the problems last time we were wheeling. One of the things, if you've seen the episode, we were having troubles with the starter, so we thought, or something along that line. Unfortunately, there was multiple problems happening that we didn't know about. So, going to show you what we found out, and a few of the other problems we found that's kind of holding up Moose's progress here. So, here we go. So, here's the old starter. Here's the new starter. And at looking the actual starter, the teeth on it in here, and the teeth in the new one here, doesn't look like there's a whole lot of damage to this, if any. Looks like the starter itself wasn't too bad. But we did find this, which is a little hard to see. There we go. This is all green and oxidized and melted. This was literally sitting against my manifold. This is my power wire right from the battery. So this cable came right from the battery to the starter, and that was literally sitting against it. So, good reason why I wasn't getting a good charge. Things weren't working properly. We were losing power out there. If not all the time, at least whenever it decided to touch, melt, and probably every time I tried to start the vehicle, it was jumping across here. So that was part of our problem. That's why our battery was going dead so fast, I believe. That's why we weren't getting, we kept having to boost it. Now, the actual starting problem, that's another can of worms. Well, took the starter cable off of the old starter, and I'm replacing it anyways for several reasons. One, I want a proper end on here. Two, we had found at this end that it was touching the manifold, and you can see it's all green and discolored there. So it was inside the corrugated stuff, this stuff here. Okay, but as you can see, that's got some damage to it. Previously, I found underneath all this had been melted here, totally exposed here, just short of that. So, even though the cable's complete, I'm pretty sure we probably had some arcing occasionally, etc., that we didn't know about. So, this cable is going in the garbage. We're getting a brand new one, and I'm going to route it where it's not touching any of the friggin' headers or the new manifolds once they go in. And, yeah, that probably helped. We had a storm of little things that we didn't know about in this truck that we're making for our interesting adventure on Scotch Line. Once we get all these things finally finished, yeah, this thing's gonna be, Moose is gonna be a lot better. So now that the starter's out and I've got some half decent light here, this is the flywheel. Actually in pretty good shape until right there. This doesn't show it overly well, but these 4 teeth, 1, 2, 3, 4, are all got a lip to them. This one more so than the other. This one, and then these ones are worn a bit from it not catching properly. So it's actually chewed this down right here. Now it hasn't broken them off, it hasn't taken them out altogether, but it has broken them down. So this did have shims in it, and I'm not sure if it requires the shims. Maybe the shims were making it just sit out a little bit where it was catching, not, it was catching the top, because the teeth don't look worn down on the starter. So I'm thinking, first of all, we're going to touch these up, We're going to put the starter in without the spacer and try. See if it hits or if it actually drops in. If it drops in, we may be safe and we're good to go. If not, we're going to pull the starter back off and see if we can build these teeth back up a bit by layer welding them and grind them into the right shape again and hope for the best. It isn't a big drop, but it's enough that's, and like I say, that's what concerns me. It's not a big drop, but the teeth aren't catching. So there wasn't a whole lot catching this in the first place because the starter isn't worn down in the center. It's not caved out. So I'm thinking the spacers, they were in it before. I put them back in when I put the new starter in. Maybe they weren't needed anymore. So I'm going to see if I can get it up and in and it'll drive in without. We are going to switch to the new starter just because of... we're going to switch to the new starter just because. Just because. Might as well put the new one in. We know it's good and we can go from there. But yeah, the wire was sitting up against that, right against the manifold there, and melted it. So we are going to get a new wire, reroute it so it's not laying against the exhaust. This is our keyed wire. And then we have to play with the one wire on the alternator as well. Seems fairly worn. On the trail that day, this was pointed out to me that this wire here is looking a little worn and ragged. Not terrible, but it's not great. So we're going to move this away, see how bad it is, and maybe, replace this or just bring it down and get a better connection. We've got room in the wire. Try to get a better connection on there. Hopefully that'll help with the alternator. I think the fact that it's not sparking against the manifold will probably make a huge difference as well. The bushing on the driver's side was worn out. As you can see, this one's not quite as bad, but there was some other problems with it that we had noticed. See how the hole here is elongated? Yeah. The actual shackle was getting worn out from the movement, as well as the bolt itself was getting worn down right through. So good thing we're making this modification, because yeah, that would have been another point to fail eventually. So the hard part right now is this here is very stuck. It's one of the rubber ones. It's really stuck. It doesn't have the metal edge like the new ones I'm putting in, but it is rubber and it is very stuck. So to try to get this apart, I don't know, there's several different ways to go at it. What I've been trying, and seems to be successful slowly, is, hang on a second, where did I put it? I created this. I just put a file in the end of my drill, put the file through, and it's eating its way through it. So that way it'll eat through the rubber, it'll eat through the metal, what's left of it, because there's not much metal left in there. So eat through the metal, eat through the rubber, and then hopefully I'll be able to work it free and pull it out. Alright, well, I finally got that all dug out, got the new bushings in, and now the new shackles are in, new bolts. We're back where we want to be here. So that's done. Now we're working on the brakes now and dealing with that. Got all kinds of new and interesting things to challenge us. That's step. Oh, I lost count. Anyways, that's the next step. These brakes here are great, but as you can see, there's not a whole lot of, back up enough, not a whole lot of room here for flex. This is sitting on the suspension, and there's not a whole lot of room for this to flex out. So if I flex down, there's a good chance of ripping this apart. Plus, we found out that this one has a tear in it right here, which is not a good sign either. So we've got brand new lines of these. The only thing is they all come the same size unless you special order through a certain company, and that costs you an arm, a leg, and an extra kneecap. So what we're doing is I found these. It's a female on both sides, and then we built that. So what's happening is this line here, I found a kink in it back in there, so that's why we were grabbing a bit on the right more than the left when we're hitting the brakes. So that line is being replaced all the way to here. Then this is going through the firewall, or sorry, through the frame. Firewall, wrong place. Through the frame, and comes down this far. Then this extension will be added to the end of that, which, as you can see, will give us a considerable bit more room. It gives us almost 11 inches more. So when we get everything lined up, the new lines too have steel line here, not the rubber, so we can direct it in the right direction. Then we can have this come in. If we need to, I might put like a spring or something on it just to keep it out of the way so it doesn't get hooked on anything. But I think we're going to be okay. And it's definitely going to give us all the room we need to flex this thing out as far as it'll go. And we won't be using the brake lines as a stopper. They're not designed as a tether strap. Now, when I was running these, I had a little bit of a pull to one side. I never really gave it, well, I gave it thought, but I lived with it. So, in undoing this, you see, pads were not bad. They're even, at least this one, and they're still probably a little less than half its life. So not bad. Did pretty good considering they've been on there almost 3 years now. So that's not terrible. Couple things we noticed is this brake line on the back side of it is literally at a 90. And it goes through, and then it has another 90 up in here. And I do mean 90, like almost kinked 90. So it's got like, it's depressed in those two places where it's slowing down the fluid because it's not a nice curve. So that was part of our problem, I do believe. Now, on top of that, you can see here, hopefully this shows today, that we have a split in the line here. And then the other thing I just found, taking these apart, was my inside pad was not sitting right. And you can see how it's got a lip there. So, that definitely was not a good thing and was causing us problems. Not that you heard a rubbing, wasn't wearing it down against anything, but yet it wasn't applying quite properly for whatever reason. So we're going to make sure we're a little more cautious on throwing this together again this time. Right now I'm putting the new pads in, putting the caliper back on. After that's done, then we've got the brand new flex lines with the extensions. There we go, brand new pads for them. A little bit thicker, looks good. So there we go, new pads are in. Sitting there nice and neat, that looks better. Lots more meat to them. So now once we get rid of the rest of the flow problems, we should be on the right track.